Welcome to the Enemies of Rome tier list. Now, we're actually going to be doing two tier lists because some of the enemies of Rome are included in one of them, and then the other one has other enemies of Rome that are not included in all kinds of... It's kind of mixed up because I couldn't actually find a tier list other than two of them, and each of them have different people, so we're going to be doing two of them. So, this first one, we have a little bit of some people here. Would have been nice if they labeled them, but I'm pretty sure I recognize them. So Boudica is the first one. I'm going to put her in the E tier, is because although she led the British uprising against Rome, but her giant rebellion just got totally crushed by General Paulinus, and then she basically just committed suicide after that. So it wasn't like anything that was threatening the empire like in a large way. So you know what, I'm actually gonna put her in the F tier, just for that. This is Vercingetorix. I'm gonna put him maybe in the B tier actually, because he did manage to drive Caesar back at the Battle of Gergovia. Now then though, but Caesar would be able to regroup and then drive Vercingetorix back. But Vercingetorix was actually a pretty cunning leader, and he managed to somewhat unite some of the Gallic tribes under his banner and went toe-to-toe with Julius Caesar before losing. So he's no S tier, but he's no F tier. But he does deserve to be on the B tier for his efforts. Arminius here is going to be in the A tier, and we all know the story of the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest and how the three Roman legions were basically annihilated. And because of that alone, he's going to be on the A tier. But the reason why he's not on the S tier is because after that, Arminius suffered like a number of defeats against the Romans, such as against Germanicus at Idisvizo and the Angravarian Wall. And then Arminius is betrayed by his own tribe, so he's not in the S tier because of that. We have Alaric the Goth. Actually, even though he did sack Rome, like causing the empire to decline even more, I'm only putting him on the C tier because the only reason why he was able to sack Rome was because General Stilicho, Roman General Stilicho, was executed by an incompetent emperor, and basically that pretty much doomed the empire in terms of its defensive position against Alaric, because if it wasn't for the death of Stilicho, the sack of Rome might have been avoided. So that's why he's only on the C tier. Now we have Attila the Hun. I'm gonna put him on the B tier above Vercingetorix. Now the reason why is because Attila was very successful in campaigning against but most of those campaigns against the Romans were mostly just raids. They weren't actual pitched battles or anything. He just fought like raids and attacked like cities and that kind of stuff, but he never fought an actual pitched battle against the Romans until the Catalaunian Plains, where he was defeated. But due to Attila, the Roman Empire pretty much was in its death row, but I'm putting him on the B tier above Alaric, because Attila did cause a lot of problems for them until before the Catalaunian Plains. Now, with Spartacus, I'm going to put him on the A tier. Spartacus led the gladiator revolt against Rome, probably the biggest slave revolt in Roman history, and he did win a couple of key engagements against the Romans before losing to Crassus. But due to his great efforts, just like Arminius, we're going to put him on the A tier. Now we have Mehmed II, the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. Now we're going to put Mehmed II on the C tier, and people might disagree with that, but he was only trying to besiege Constantinople, and by that time the Roman Empire was pretty much just Constantinople and a tiny bit of territory in Greece. It was not much of a challenge, honestly. Because honestly, if Mehmed II had to wage war against Rome at its might, he would not win. So that's why we're only putting him on the C tier. But Mehmed II was a very successful military leader regardless, so that's why he's not any lower than that. Viriathus, the Iberian, led some guerrilla wars against Rome for some time, but ultimately unsuccessful. So we're putting him on the E tier. Pyrrhus of Epirus, putting him on the B tier. And Pyrrhus won a couple of battles against the Romans during the early days of the Republic, but Pyrrhus won those battles that were only costly victories, and Pyrrhus basically just didn't have any manpower to replenish his troops, and that's why he stopped campaigning against Rome eventually, when the Romans kind of finally drove him out. And then but Pyrrhus would have been successful if he had just more manpower. So we're just gonna put him on the B tier. Now Julius Caesar, I don't see how he's an enemy of Rome because he was Rome. Now, but I'm guessing maybe he was like an enemy to like the Republic, but in which case we're gonna have to put him all the way up there because he pretty much brought the end to the Republic. I mean, the Republic was already in its death row a long time before Caesar came around, but he kind of finally ended it. And he was also very successful campaigning against the Roman Republic and trying to take over, consolidate power, and through the Civil War and all that. Next we have Hannibal. He's also going to be up here too. Probably more of a threat to Rome than Caesar. Because Caesar was just trying to make Rome better, honestly. Hannibal, this guy won a lot of battles against the Romans, like at Cannae, Lake Trasimene, and a couple other, the River Trebia, and a couple other major engagements where if only Hannibal had got more support from Carthage, Carthage could have actually been the dominant power, replacing Rome. But then again, most of these guys kind of just like eventually died or lost against Rome eventually, but Hannibal came closest to ending Roman supremacy. Next we have Mithridates of Pontus, putting him on the C tier. Mithridates, this guy, he conquered Anatolia but could not keep it, and he lost his military, his Pontic army just lost a lot of battles to Sulla, and then to Lucullus, and then to Pompey. So, but he had a run going for like a short bit. So, I think now this guy, I'm not really exactly sure who this guy is. I haven't really seen this picture before, but I'm guessing it's probably the Persian king Shapur the First. Now Shapur the First or Shapur the Second. I'm not sure which one. I think it's Shapur the First though. Shapur the First does deserve to go on the B tier because he did win a number of battles against the Roman Emperor, and I think he captured the Roman Emperor Valerian as well. But then Odenathus drove him out of Anatolia, I mean the Levant and Syria, but he really threatened Rome's eastern border before that, so that's where I'm going to put him there. So that's the first tier list that we're doing for enemies of Rome, so just take a moment to look around at that. Now we're going to go back here and enemies of Rome, and forgive me for the ads that are popping up everywhere, like it's super annoying, and I'm gonna have to edit this, just put the letter F in there, and forgive me for that too. So now we have the next one. We're just gonna put the guys that were already there, that we already did have, like where they were supposed to be. I believe I put Vercingetorix on the B tier. Am I right? Yes. Put him there. Put Viriathus. I had an E tier as well. Jeez. This is frustrating. Should have probably set this up before, but who cares? I had Viritheus on the E tier, Boudica in the F tier, Spartacus on the A tier, Attila on the B tier, I believe. And I believe that's it. So now we have our remaining figures here. We have Cleopatra, Khalid ibn al-Walid, Bar Kokhba, Zenobia, Enrico Dandolo, and Jugurtha. Now we're gonna go for Cleopatra first. She's gonna go on the B tier. Actually, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure about this one. Put her on the C tier, actually, because, I mean, she almost consolidated her power in Rome, but honestly, I'm not sure if it would have hurt Rome in any way other than that she comes into power. Like, it's not like she was like a Hannibal or something. So, I mean, maybe the threat was her coming to power, which probably that is the threat, actually, was her coming to power in Rome. And but she just kind of got defeated by Octavian decisively, and the story kind of ends there for her. Khalid ibn al-Walid is gonna go up there with Hannibal. These two guys posed the most major threat to Rome. Khalid ibn al-Walid defeated the Eastern Roman Empire a number of times, similar number of times as Hannibal defeated the Roman Republic. And Khalid ibn al-Walid also like caused problems for the Sassanids in the east as well. So he's gonna be an S tier. And he was successful, unlike Hannibal, in the end. Bar Kokhba, I'm putting him on the E tier. I mean, he led the Jewish revolt against Rome that kind of just got crushed by Hadrian. So maybe I could actually put him on the F tier. Zenobia, put her in the E tier. Got defeated by Aurelian, trying to usurp power in the east. Enrica Dandolo, D tier. I mean, we need someone in a D tier, but he doesn't really deserve to be too high. I mean, had he led the Crusaders to sack Constantinople and basically proved a death row for Rome. But by then, the Eastern Roman Empire was already very weak. So, Jugurtha is also going to be a C tier. And Jugurtha basically used treachery to try to cause trouble for the Romans, but in the end, he was defeated and killed. So, that'll be it for the tier list. And we'll see you all in the next one.